Hello and welcome once again after quite a long time off. Welcome once again to Exit Strategy. This is the podcast where we ask comedians, what would you do with your life if comedy was no longer a part of it? We took a little break. I got married. And now we're back. Welcome back. So glad to be back here on Exit Strategy. And I hope that the break wasn't too much for you. I hope you didn't find a new Wednesday podcast that took your heart. I hope that I'm still number one on Wednesdays for all of you, or Thursdays, or really whenever you decide to listen to it. I don't know. Personally, I like to listen to things the day they drop, because otherwise you might miss the dates that people plug at the end. You got to keep current. Anyway, whatever. Welcome back to Exit Strategy. I have a guest on today. I'm glad that I got to talk to her because I never get to see her, and she's such a fun, talented person, and I like getting to know comedians on a deeper level that I've known for years. Lizzie Cooperman is the guest this week. And if you don't know Lizzie, I would say, honestly, and I'm not even joking here, before you even begin this episode, I think it would be helpful for you to watch a Lizzie Cooperman set, because I could describe it, but I don't know that I could quite possibly give you the full experience, the full description of what it is. It's hard to define. It's just something special. So go to LizzieCooperman.com. Go to the videos, watch a set, see who she is. And if you don't have time to do it, if you're in the car, I will sum up Lizzie with a quote that is from Time Out LA. It's on our website. This is how Time Out LA described Lizzie Cooperman. Although Cooperman writes traditional jokes for TV shows, her own comedy is closer to avant-garde. She moves erratically yet seamlessly between characters and conceits, using the entire stage and occasionally banging a keyboard for effect. Just when you think it doesn't make sense, you'll get it. That's a pretty good summation. What Lizzie Cooperman does is like not a traditional stand-up in any sense of the word. She is a great addition to any show because you see a lot of people just performing, and hey, traditional stand-up is great, but sometimes you need something to shatter all your expectations and give you something, a glimpse into what could be with the art form. And I think Lizzie Cooperman does that, but it took a while for her to get there. It took a while for her to figure out how to express herself in a way that she felt was indicative of her personality. And we do a lot of shop talk. If you like talking comedy shop, this is going to be the episode for you, because I'm going to, along with Lizzie, track her journey from traditional comedian. Well, actually, she started off quite avant-garde. She had the vision of what she wanted to do, but then she was beaten down by the normality of stand-up development. You can't break the rules all at once. You got to learn the rules. So we track her development from starting out from a avant-garde place to a traditional comedian, back to avant-garde, and it's quite a fascinating journey, especially if you like getting into the nuance and the nuts and bolts of performing comedy, as I do. So let's get into it. It's been a long time. I hope you remember how to listen to Exit Strategy. Let's listen in. Here is Lizzie Cooperman on Exit Strategy. As a single man, Lizzie, can you believe it?
So exciting!
Can you believe you're part of this?
I actually can't.
Do you feel you seemed like you were a little shocked when I told you, like, I'm getting married this week?
When you said that, I was like, I feel like I'm a part of something special. Like I'm getting this, like, yeah.
I don't know. Is there like, I mean, it's in what 5 days? Well, like 4 days. Is in your mind, like, what should those 4 days before a wedding be? Because I don't know how to like make it. Right. You know.
Right. If I were you, I wouldn't even be sitting here. Like I'd be like, I'll draw all the curtains, run a bath, just continuously pouring salts into the bath.
Just massive preparations for the wedding.
Yeah.
No, I just live in life as usual, really.
So exciting.
But I know that it's gonna like ramp up and get very stressful,
Right.
like up until the point. Like once I pick up my pressed suit, then I know it's gonna be like.
Once I pick up Amber and tell her we're getting married, then.
Then I
Things
know.
will
Then I know it's real.
escalate.
Then I know it's real. Well, thank you for being part of
Yeah.
we'll call it the march to down the aisle. It starts today.
That's so cool.
We'll put
I
you
love
in.
it.
We're not making programs, but if we were, I'll put you in there. Like,
Thank you.
A podcast guest of honor, Lizzie Cooperman.
I love it.
Yeah, well, I'm
That's so
glad.
exciting.
It's nice, and also thank you for offering to bring some Starbucks.
Oh yeah,
Chad.
you know, I woke up late and I was like, I'm not gonna be fully myself
Yeah.
unless I have this beverage.
I'm with
So
you.
then I was like, okay, it's between Jeff and me.
Yeah,
no, it's between. And I was like, he'll understand.
yeah. To hell with
Yes,
him.
he'll understand.
No, I understand, and I
Okay.
think full disclosure to anyone listening, we're both like late starts. I would say today.
Yes.
So this one might take a while to ramp up,
Right.
but once we're both raring to go,
Wow. I just remembered part of my dream was that I was like test driving a Prius C. And the screen went totally dark, and I was like, I can't feel or see anything. And then I started to hear, which was like birds chirping
Yeah.
outside. That was like
How
at
did
6
that-
a.m.
see, so we got a lot going on in our
Right.
collective brains
Right.
today, but we're gonna have a fun time because I like talking to you, Lizzie. I think it's been a while since we've had a chance to catch up.
That's so true. It's
Yeah.
funny. I was thinking of where I first met you, and I think it was in the basement of the Hollywood Hotel.
It's very likely. Yeah.
Did you have a show there?
I didn't have a show there, but I would call that one of my haunts back in
Okay.
the day.
For anyone listening, it's not odd that we would meet in the basement of the
No.
Hollywood Hotel.
The basement of the Hollywood
Sounds like
Hotel.
we were doing illegal work for the stars.
No, it was even. I don't even think it was a Hollywood Hotel at the time. Wasn't it like a Ramada or something like that?
Oh yeah, maybe it was.
But it was like a comedy. Mecca. I don't want to say Mecca. That gives it too much, like gravitas.
Right.
But it was a place where a lot of comedy happened.
Yeah.
Just this like.
It was a comedy marketplace.
It was a comedy marketplace where people who were usually in from out of town from other countries would come to this hotel, and then in the basement there was like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a little lounge, but it was like kind of had like a cheesecake factory design vibe. You know what I mean?
So funny. It did.
There's like weird iron fencing in places and granite tabletops for no reason.
Right.
But it was so.
A bartender named Gus.
A bartender named Gus who played trumpet in the
Yes.
back room. Like he would complain that comics weren't ordering enough drinks, but it's like, dude, you're in a room across the way playing sad trumpet. We
Right,
would
right.
buy drinks if we could, but you're not
So
giving us
funny.
the opportunity.
I do remember him
Yeah.
wanting to express himself artistically and talking about the trumpet.
And just being around a bunch of comedians all the time.
Yeah.
At open mics on,
Yeah.
I think Thursday night or whatever it was.
I
Yeah.
loved that room.
Yeah.
I think it's still going because, like, a few years ago, I was like, where can I run some material that I
Yeah.
don't want anyone to hear? Oh, I'll go to the Hollywood Hotel. I kind of went on the Comedy Bureau website, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's still happening? And it's happening at 5 p.m.
Oh, my God.
It's those, like, early...
Yeah, it's like one step above just in your apartment reciting
Right.
it.
No one's listening.
That place was like a notorious echo chamber. Like if the show or mic was not like hitting, woof. I remember, wow. I'm having like flashbacks, just like sweating thinking about
Right.
that room.
Right.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it feeling liberating of being like, yeah, no one's here. Like
Yeah.
that kind of thing where you're just like, hey, this is what I always thought it'd be like to scream on top of a hill.
But yeah, it had a good it had a good vibe though about it. I remember
Right.
just sort of always feeling like I knew I was going to see people that I liked at that one.
Yeah.
Like it was just one where we all gravitated towards.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I met you there. I think you were with Matt Ingebretson,
Yeah.
and that night was popping.
Everyone was there.
Everyone was
Studio
there.
54. People were dancing on the tables. It was quite
It was
a scene.
so fun.
That place
Yeah.
also had the best bathroom situation of any comedy place ever.
Multiple stalls. Glossy marble floors. Oh my God.
I maybe I'm making this up, but I feel like there was just like jazz playing in there for no reason.
Yes.
So it was, and then it was like ceiling to floor doors on all the stalls too.
So
like
funny.
An incredibly
Right.
nice
And like
situation.
giant mirrors.
Yeah.
Where you'd be like, oh God. No, I would be like,
And it's just like this little.
what's become of me?
I wonder if they ever meant for that bottom floor to be like this huge thing, because
Right.
I outside of comedy, I never saw anyone down there, and even like the tenants of the hotel never really.
That's
came
so
down.
true. When you enter in, if you didn't go through the back way, if you went through the main entrance
Yeah.
of the hotel, because it was like hard to always tell which
Where to
door to
go,
go in.
yeah.
I could never, like, I always forgot which door it was. And you'd be like, oh, I'm going into the basement. And they'd be like, the basement?
There's a
Like, even
basement?
the concierge was like,
We don't go down.
We don't go down.
Gus was just a ghost. We didn't
Right.
even realize. It's like we were in this haunted
oh my God.
Hollywood hotel. It's like a Disneyland attraction over there.
So fun.
If I had met you then, that would have been like 2010-ish, probably.
Yeah, probably.
How long
Wow.
had you been doing stand-up at that point?
Oh my God. It's been such a long path. Like it actually
Heavy sigh.
like chills me to the core to think about how long I've been doing it.
Yeah.
Because I actually don't know what year I started. So I moved here in 2007.
Yeah.
Before that I was in New York for 2 years. So that would go 2005. And then before that I did 2 years in Minneapolis. So that goes to 2003. So yeah, I'd graduated college, moved to Minnesota, and I started in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And at Acme Comedy Company and Knuckleheads, which was in the Mall of America.
I can't even. Okay, we'll unpack that in a second.
Okay, yeah.
But you were sort of like the class above me. It always felt like you were
Right.
sort of like, oh, she's been doing comedy longer than me. I'm the new kid, like that sort of thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but
yeah,
then now it's like
you were part of that new wave of talented
the new
people.
wave. Yeah, that's always fascinating to me. Like I feel like now I'm so detached that there's like
Do you?
2 or 3 generations that I don't even know.
Okay.
Because I'm just not. I really am not plugged in the way that I probably should be.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I sometimes I just assume I haven't been doing shows with somebody.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, maybe we weren't booked on the same thing, or
Well, I feel like in Los Angeles, you can get like into a little bubble of like, this is the places that I go to.
Right.
But then 5 miles down the road, there's like a whole other scene
yeah.
that I don't even know about.
Anytime I do the Improv Lab,
Yeah.
which is, for those of you listening, this is pertinent information. It is connected to the Hollywood Improv.
And I'll be there on March.
Catch me. That's so funny. I'm actually at Flappers tonight.
All right,
is
save
like
it
a
till the
similar,
end, Lizzie.
But, okay, yes, we'll save it to the end. No one's going to make it there on time.
No, it's gonna be
If we're-
it's gonna be fine.
okay.
It's gonna be great. You're gonna have
I
a
mean,
fun
if we're
time
saying
at
it
Flappers
now.
tonight.
Okay, but at the Improv Lab, that's a place where I'll be on a show with people and be like, wow, that person's really funny, and I've never come into contact with them.
Yeah.
And that's because you either perform east or west of Vine, and those are the rules.
It's true.
No, but there are different
yeah.
communities.
I don't know anyone from the West Side. Like
Right.
on a rare occasion, because also one thing about me is that I don't have a car, so I don't go to the West Side. So like there's a huge barrier. But every once in a while, I'll get asked to do a show in Santa Monica, and it is like traveling out of town.
It does feel that way.
Yeah, I don't know anybody.
And then you have to think about it. Okay, is this worth it?
Yes.
Let me look at what the show's been like before.
Yeah.
You look at the flyer, you're like, okay.
So scary.
Laughs a lot. Junior did it. I guess I'll give it a try.
Maybe I'll message them and ask them how it went before.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a very real feeling of you kind of put yourself on the line when you're
Yes.
like, I'm going to commit to a trip to Santa Monica
Yes.
to do comedy.
Oh my God. I did a show. I knew in the back of my mind it was in Thousand Oaks, but I didn't really process that at the time
What
that
that
they
meant.
asked me. Yeah, I didn't process it. I had to like talk to my therapist about it because I went to this show. This was after a break from therapy, so it was like I was downloading a lot emotionally.
Yeah.
But I went to this show. It was like an hour away. I get there. There's no audience. There's no setup. Like, it was just, everything was just like, and they kept going, there are tacos in back, but there were no tacos. I was like, there's no tacos.
What's happening?
In sight. And it was just like, I drove home and I was like, I can't believe I let myself do that. Like, I was kind of like beating myself up for doing it. Like, I couldn't find it within myself to be like, wow, I wish that had gone a little differently. That's what my therapist said to say. She goes, why not say,
I wish this had
she's
gone
like,
a little bit differently.
Yeah, wow, I really wanted that to be a nice show. And I was like, yeah, I would never have that thought. But I'm trying to be more like that about those shows where I'm like, okay, so you drove somewhere. What else would you be doing, you know?
But it's also a thing of like, I don't know, I think we're hardwired to just say yes to everything.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you go through so many years of just like wanting to be on shows that the idea of turning them down is kind of a weird, guilty kind of feeling.
Right.
Like I've got one in my email right now, like a month from now, where someone asked me to do the show, gave me 2 dates. I have no idea where it is, what it's called, who runs it. I even went back and entered their email into social media to see like, all right, maybe I can figure out where this is. Nothing. Still said yes. Like, absolutely, I'll do it. I might have signed up for the Thousand Oaks show.
You might be headed.
I might be taking a
to
bus.
Wine Country or whatever it was. It was like a wine bar.
Yeah.
Wine and tacos.
Wine and tacos.
The combination everyone's type. It's like
Two
the
great
worst
tastes.
combination.
And then throw comedy in the mix, and you've got yourself
Should be
something
called
there.
Rancid
Aw,
Taco.
just so many acids at play in my belly right now, and then I'm going to laugh. Did you have fun at the show, though, or was it a complete bust?
I think I also was just in a jagged mood. And I just remember sitting at the bar, and there was someone else there who was really, like, upbeat.
Yeah.
And I can be upbeat, but this particular night, it was almost like her optimism was kind of, like, causing my pessimism to swell.
Yeah,
it was almost like it was
it.
like creating this contrast. She was like, "It's fun up there," like, and she also like really had enjoyed being on stage. She was like, "They're gonna love you. It's really fun." It's like, okay, slow your roll, sweetie.
I would be,
It was a lovely person, but I was like, yeah, okay, like I just
fine.
need to like do this and get like.
No, I think I would probably be the optimistic person in that situation, but I would never push it to you. Like if there's like a shitty situation, I do have to build myself up and be like, all right, we have to make this fun.
Right.
But I would never go to another person and try to like entice them with my positivity. That's too far.
Right.
If you ask me.
Right. Yeah. I feel like I'm usually able to hit that like note of optimism, and this night I think it was like the drive, whatever else I had going on that week. Just the feeling of like I'm not getting like that feeling where you're like I am just, and I probably like, you know, if I had like a new joke that I was excited about, even that could have like tipped the scales for me. But I just couldn't. Yeah. And then the no tacos was just like I've got to get out of here. Like I can't.
Not even a taco for your troubles.
Not even a taco for my trouble. Yeah.
I think, I don't know if you are comfortable doing this, but you might want to be one of those people that if it's out of town, you just be like, can I bring somebody with me?
Oh, yeah.
Because I find, too, that also helps if you have, like, an ally. Because you're not just going in, like, cold with strangers, you know?
Right.
That's a tip.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a little diva-y. But I think it's, if you're going an hour out of your way, I think it's justified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Just, can I get a little time for it? And then you have a partner. You got a little buddy.
I know. The thing I'm going to do now is enter in every address before I say yes. Just like put it into my
gonna
phone
need
and
your
see.
address before I agree to
I
do
need
this
the
show.
address,
Yeah.
or I need to just like look up the venue,
I
or
think
say,
that's
"Oh,
fair.
great, where is it?"
Yeah. Yeah, I should have done that too. Well, I'm going to find
Right.
out. We'll find out. Tune in, and I'll spill all of what that's going to be like.
I love that they didn't give you any kind of
No
location.
information, none. Just like, hey, want to do our show this date or this date? And I said that date works. Right. No follow up.
What about the shows that are like, we can't give you the address yet, but we'll tell you where it is the day of the show?
That is
like,
not cool.
How are people finding out about this?
Yeah.
But the last one I did that was like that, it was like a secret show. People came. I don't know.
Was it Robert Buscemi's show?
That's a really fun show. By the way, you guys have a great show, and you do a great job. I didn't mean to like shit.
Well, they had a
my
secret
friend's
show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Him and Sophia.
Yeah, where there was like no address.
Yeah.
But then there was a huge group of people.
Yeah, they
there.
managed to pull it off. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know
I
people.
applaud them for it. Lovely people, very funny. And then this was Vivian Martinez. Do you know her?
I probably
Vivian?
do.
Yeah. She's really funny.
Yeah.
But she did this show and she's like, don't tell anyone where it is. And I'm like, how is this going to...
It's like counterintuitive
Right.
to every... Like, I feel like I need to provide, like, if there isn't parking in the lot, if you go 2 streets down, there'll be parking. Like, I want to make it as easy as possible for people to show up. But, I mean, I guess I just...
Yeah. And I feel like especially because I use a keyboard and I carry it.
Yes.
It's just, like, makes everything, like, twice as intense. Like, I'll park at a show and just sit there and be like, okay.
Yeah.
It's time to go in.
This is a lot to deal with. Yeah. Well, let's go back to the Mall of America.
Yes.
Minnesota, Lizzie Cooperman.
Okay.
Wait, where are you from originally?
Let's travel back. I'm from Minnesota.
Oh, you're from Minnesota.
Yeah,
okay. So
from
that
Minneapolis.
that makes sense.
Right. I'm like, and I was dying to...
Well, I'm very curious. I'm sure that you don't have sets of yours from that year available to see, but I would be very curious. Oh, you do?
Uh-huh.
I would be very curious to see Lizzie Cooperman now versus Lizzie Cooperman.
I'm like, can you convert an 8-track? Just kidding.
She brought a VCR. We're gonna watch it later. So you're in Minneapolis and you're starting comedy now. Right now, I would say that your comedy is very it is very intense, very out there. Like you're very with the crowd. I have a feeling in Minneapolis it wasn't that way, or am I wrong?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So the first time I did stand-up, people thought I was on cocaine. And...
Were you?
No. I've never done cocaine in my life, actually.
Doesn't need it.
I don't need it. So I started at this place called the Minnesota Comedy Club, actually, which was a Best Western, where they had a sign, like a poster that had the state of Minnesota with a mouth laughing,
that is
as
adorable.
They do. It was really cute. And I went on stage and I was like, and that, everything was just I think I was nervous. And in my mind I was like, I'm a performer, because I was already a performer before I started stand-up. But, I mean, this was it's not, stand-up isn't acting at all.
There's you have a goal in mind. You have to accomplish something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to do that. And it actually, the first set, I did have that, high where I was like, oh, my God, maybe I could, do this.
Yeah.
But it was, wild.
Yeah.
And then as I continued on and started actually writing jokes, because in the beginning it was a mess of thoughts and characters, which is weirdly maybe more what my stand-up is now, is more like what it was back then.
At the beginning.
When I was pseudo coked up, yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually think maybe I started in a place that was kind of authentic and then was destroyed by academia, rules, structure. No, but then I was like, I have to learn how to actually write jokes, because I couldn't replicate that. I couldn't always tap into that. And if I did it in a room full of so that was I'm going to say not the hippest part of Minnesota.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then when I would
Smiling
go to the
Minnesota.
exactly,
sign,
maybe someone's parents were like, oh, well, she was adorable or whatever. Like,
I don't know what she said,
Yeah,
but I had fun.
she was crazy. She was nuts or whatever, So,
Yeah.
like that kind of friendliness. But then I went to Acme Comedy Company, which Monday nights they have this open mic, I believe still exists, that's overflowing with students from like University of Minnesota, and like everyone goes to this open mic because at the end of the show they give like headliners like 7 minutes each, and they're all and when I was there they were all hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, that's a club that has like a very good reputation.
Yes,
for being
like
one
I'm
of the
trying
best.
to think, like, do you know who Pete Lee is?
I don't.
Pete Lee, and like there were a lot of like people who now are like, he's a successful comedian, but like people who are like on their way to
Like
doing
seasoned
Tracy
comedians,
Ashley, who's
like people
out here.
who,
Yes. And so people would just pour into this, and back then it was like you could still smoke inside, so it was just like this huge party in this gorgeous club. And so the first time I went up there, so you would go every week, and sometimes you would get on and sometimes you wouldn't get on. You'd go sign up at 6, at 8 o'clock they would just hang up the list, and you would see Lizzie Cooperman 3 minutes. You got 3. When you got on, you got 3.
Yeah.
Then it might be months before I got 3 minutes there again, because to perform at this big thing, it was like a big deal.
Yeah.
And there were so many people who wanted to be comics. Then as the club got to know you, you'd get 5, and you'd be like, oh my God, I got 5. You'd be like, I have to go sit in my car and write my set. And then 7 was when you were like, oh, there's a chance I might host here someday.
Yeah. Wow, that's like a very definitive, like, I can track my progress.
Yes.
That you don't really get.
But then sometimes you'd go 5, and then you'd get bumped back to 3, and you'd be like, okay, good. Well, at least I'm on the list. And people would be like, you got on, though. You still got on. And it was all based on what this guy Lewis Lee thought of you and where, what he wanted in his club. And he's still very specific about who he has performed there. So, but I remember taking that act, the spazzy act, to Acme, and people being like, what? Like, literally, like, this sucks. Like, I remember them being like, Lizzie Cooperman. And it was like I was first on a Monday night. People were still sitting down, and just these, like, kind of fratty guys in the front being like, what? No. Like, someone said something, I don't remember, but I think maybe there was, like, a light boo in the distance. Like, it was just like, and I got off stage, and I was like, and because I had that great set, I went into it like, I'm a straight A student in comedy, because I've only done one where I got an A, and then you do one where you get an F. And then
like,
you go,
that's
okay,
shocking.
like, I'm not a comedian. Clearly, I'm not equipped. So what do I do? So then you start to write jokes, as you know.
Yeah.
But
so you took out you were, it sounds like you were sort of an unfiltered version of what you are now.
Right.
But you took out all those elements of spontaneity.
Yes.
And wow.
And I took those up, but I didn't even do it consciously. I was just like, I have to write better jokes.
Yeah.
Because I would watch other comedians and go, oh, they are like a genius. Like, I started to fall in love with joke writing.
Yeah.
I studied poetry and stuff in college, and so I love writing anyway. But this was like a different kind of, there was like, it felt like magical to me.
Yeah.
And I just like started to like love comedy. I loved the idea that there's like a sense of like a quest for identity within it.
Yeah.
Which I think especially when you're first starting out, and like in those like books, like there's a book by Judy Brown called like Comedy Bible, where she's like, have someone tell you what you look like, and then go, I know what you guys are thinking. I look like so-and-so crossed with the Swiss Miss girl or something. Or like, or whatever you would
Never
say.
fails.
Yeah. Or you'd be like, I look like Barbara Streisand got hit by a train. Like, whatever. I don't know.
Lizzie's workshopping her latest. I know what she thinks.
I know what you're thinking, but that's like a level 1 thing that you do, is say, I know what I look like, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was, and I thought that was fascinating, because there was also this guy this older man who entered a contest in Minnesota. His name was Dave. I don't remember his last name. I heard he passed, so
R.I.P.
Much love
Dave.
to Dave. R.I.P. But he had a long white beard and he entered the like funniest person in the city contest. And he went on stage and he goes, "Ho, ho, ho, motherfuckers." And everyone laughed.
Yeah.
But then he came back to the open mic in a Santa hat, did the same line, and got nothing. And
Just
there's that.
Yeah. Just the one little element changes everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And knowing that you want the audience to think they're the ones that got the joke.
Yeah. There's a science to it.
Yes. Yes. And I was fascinated by that. I was like, how the hat took it to, you know, the addition of the Santa hat.
It's really incredible, too. And I don't think it's very rare for me to watch comedy now without those elements of like dissecting what's working.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like once you're in and once you sort of see the formulas and you see sort of the inner workings behind it, like my whole thing is like, I wouldn't have done that. I would have done that. Oh, that worked. Like taking things, like just the other day, like you find yourself in that moment where you're like, you know, the exact pause, like you can kind of like take yourself away from the what you're doing, and you're sort of like, and now I say the thing now, like you just know it.
Right.
I don't know. I can't, like, will I ever be able to turn that off? You know what I mean? Like,
that's really interesting. And also, like, how many times do you do a joke before that's locked in?
Yeah.
Because the minute I tell a joke, it's like, I'm not changing it much from that point on.
And then, like,
I just know that about myself.
Yeah. There's spontaneous things that I've done that I'll like. There's one joke that I'll do where if I don't do a slight like laugh as if I'm laughing about what I'm about to say, if I don't do that, it doesn't work.
Right.
Like, so I have to do like a fake, spontaneous chuckle at the right moment before I deliver the punchline.
Right. Or act like you're in the moment thinking of it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's wild that we figure out these things through trial and error.
Cues.
Yeah. And it sounds like that's what Minnesota was for you, just sort of figuring that out. It
absolutely was.
So what is the trajectory sort of loosely where you go from sort of an unfiltered lot of energy through the joke writing? When do you get back into sort of, I guess, what we would recognize as the Lizzie Cooperman set now, which is really in the moment, it feels like to me, with what the audience is feeling at that particular moment.
Thank you for saying that.
You're welcome.
I'm like, I'm going to take everything as a compliment, whether or not it's fed to me that way. I'm like, thank you. No, that's nice to hear, because the reason I say is because I don't always feel that way, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay. So I went through that phase. I tried Deadpan. I went through a Deadpan phase.
Yeah.
That was all like in the first, I'd say years 1 and 2 were just like, does this work? Does this work? Does this work?
I just can't imagine the Deadpan.
It was like this. I had jokes and I would say them like this. It was like totally, I don't even know.
It's so crazy.
I can't believe it.
Maybe this will work.
Yeah, because you go, oh, maybe because I'm high energy, it's better to hone it in.
Yeah.
Because especially like one thing I think with acting is like taking the energy and finding focus and making things more specific. And I think in my mind I was like, maybe if I do that, if I take my energy and just channel it, it'll be more effective. But like, it wasn't as fun. It's definitely not as fun.
Well, yeah, that's
for me.
Could you imagine if it really worked and you just for the next 10 years were like, I guess I have to do this thing that I don't like?
I can't even.
You'd be like a trap. You'd be in jail, comedy jail for the rest of your career.
I know. I mean, I think there are certain things that can land you in comedy jail too, with your like. With expectations. I have a little bit of comedy jail with my keyboard, because when I don't bring it, people go, "Where's your keyboard?"
That's a lot too.
It's so I can't believe I use a keyboard. I don't. It's okay. So that's part of, I guess, this question you're asking me. So I went through that. Then I moved to New York, but that was like I got passed at a club to work at a club there, which is why I moved.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I moved to New York, I was performing mostly at the comic strip. So it was like people who were paying, admission and a 2-drink minimum. And I felt like I had to keep doing joke to
it's like real deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is serious. I'm like, this is serious.
Well, no, it is. It's like when you go, like the difference between a show where like somebody pays nothing or $5 and it's in like a place where it's like, it doesn't matter if this succeeds, versus like the person who goes to a club like the Improv or whatever, they paid upwards of $50 all told to have like a night. They don't like fucking around.
No,
really.
No, there was like no space for that. There was a thing after the show. If you were passed at the comic strip, you could do something called late night. Yeah, which was like kind of like a little open mic for people who were passed at the comic strip, and that was the more beneficial to me than the shows. Yeah, because the shows I was just like treading. Like I think the set I got passed on, I was visiting there. Yeah, it's kind of a crazy story. I was like, I opened for someone in Cedar Rapids, Iowa at Penguins who told me if I was ever at New York, they'd give me a spot there. And they like wrote down their information. And at the time I smoked and I was driving back from Iowa and I had the information on my dashboard. Yeah. And I rolled down my window and the cocktail napkin blew out the window. And I was like, oh my God, that was my one chance. Yeah. And then I like found someone who knew someone at the club who let me get a spot, and I ended up having a good set when I went out there. And then the owner was like, "You should move here," and I was like, "Oh my God, my life has changed." It was just like, it was an exciting whirlwindy thing that I'm still grateful for. Yeah, but I wasn't ready for. I was ready for it in my life, but comedically, I just didn't know how to play my piano of myself yet, which I think we all have kind of like a different range. Yeah. And for some people that means they're going to figure it out quicker because they're like, oh, I have this small, not to use all piano analogies, but if you have a smaller piano, you go, okay, here, I play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Yeah. People like it. They get who I am. And there it is. Thank you. And the crowd gets you. And that's almost like more fortunate in some ways as a comedian to have that.
You're easily packaged into like,
yes,
that is this person. Yeah. It takes a while to find who you are, I think. Right. I know I don't know that I've quite even, like I feel like you explore, you figure out new ways to do things, and then eventually somebody can in one sentence describe like, oh, that's what they do. That's like the money right there when you're easily defined. It sounds awful, but
no, it's so true. And that's why like certain people in the beginning, like even starting out, I'd be like, oh wow, that person's doing great. Yeah. Why? Because they're a nun who swears. I mean,
it doesn't take much, but you go, that's the swearing nun. Yeah, and then you always be like, nun. You can easily describe it to another person.
We didn't expect her to swear. It was so funny. And then that person, like.
She's really good at swearing.
Those category, like those. Yeah. So, but I think if you're, but then there's a different type of person where it's like, oh, I could go here, I could go there, and it's like you're trying to figure out what to hit when and if it's okay to say this. Yeah. There's always the like, am I dirty? Am I clean? Is it okay to say this? Because some people's thing is, I only want to work clean. Yeah. Which is kind of great because it gives you limitations,
Yeah, it gives you parameters to go.
Yeah.
So where are you in the journey of finding you? It sounds like your piano has a lot of keys.
I'm like, I happen to be gifted with a grand... that is so funny. That is what I'm saying. But that's how it feels. It probably feels that way to everybody.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm just saying this how it feels, or maybe I'm just worse at piano. Maybe I've got a small piano, and maybe it just didn't come naturally.
Maybe you're using a piano in a way that most people don't even think to use it. Like. To use the piano analogy, I don't know, maybe you're using it as a drum. I don't know.
Maybe it's a drum.
There's so many ways to go through life. You don't have to do everything by the book.
Oh, my gosh.
So when is the keyboard? Because you're sort of, it's like a signature thing. You always perform with a keyboard.
Yeah.
When does that get into the act?
So then I was in New York, moved here for love.
Aw.
And I was like, when I moved here, I was kind of relieved because I was like, oh, now I don't have to perform at, I mean, I still, it's so funny. I'm like, I played the improv then and not now. It's like they used to book me. What happened? I've been sending my avails weekly.
Did you make sure to update your email recently?
Oh my God, no. Was I supposed to?
I don't know.
That's so funny.
They're doing an email list purge, and I'm like, okay, here it is.
Right.
You never email.
Right.
Why are you even like? This would be your perfect opportunity to just be like, let's cut 1,000 people out of our email.
I know.
Why give people the hope?
I think it's like once your name, it's like the Comedy Store, how they write your name on the wall. That's our thing. Is like you're on the email blast.
I'm on the email blast.
Guys, I finally got my name in an email blast.
I'm on the MailChimp for the improv. It's never led to anything, but I am on it.
But I felt like kind of a relief when I moved here because I was like, oh, like I can just kind of start over creatively.
Yeah.
Because I had started to feel like in that club atmosphere, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it like this, if I'm going to do it forever.
Yeah.
And I do want to do it. So I need to find a way to be happy doing it and feel like it's more authentic to me. So there's a performance artist who I love. Her name is Laurie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
She had a really popular song called Oh Superman that I think was like #1 on like the British pop charts in the late 80s, early 90s. She was married to Lou Reed, but aside from that, she invented like all these instruments. She was like the artist in residence at NASA and stuff. Like she's a genius.
Yeah.
Laurie, Laurie Anderson. And I remember going to see her in high school with my sister, took me to see this concert. And I was like, oh my God. Like I always wanted to return to the feeling I had seeing Laurie Anderson. Because she created these like soundscapes. Now, she was a really talented musician, and a lot of her albums are kind of like monologue with sound. And I always wanted to create like theatrical experiences. Before I did stand up, I did performance art. So I always wanted to create experience. I wanted it to be experiential, I think, more than I wanted to be funny.
Yeah.
And then when I started doing stand-up, I was like, I fell in love with it, but I was also like, and I can be on stage all the time, which if you're a performance artist walking around in a giant cardboard box, which I was, where am I going to go up? Like,
what are
I'm
your
going to have
venues?
to do tons of one-woman shows. Like, how are people going to know me or want to go to these things? So I kind of was like, I had a show at this, do you remember this place, Tangier, I think it was called? It used to be, I think, on Hillhurst.
It sounds familiar to me.
It was like there was like a bar in the front, and then the back was just this big room. I think they did a lot of like moth storytelling there. And I had a show one night, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't do my stand-up. I just like was like, I refuse to do this unless I do something unusual with or break out of the context of what I'm doing. I just wanted to like. And this was after I had a little bit, like I would say in 2007, I had like a little success. Yeah. You know, like I got into some festivals, I did a late night set, and I was like, you know, but then I also had that feeling of like, and this is what I'm doing, is being like, hey guys, so I recently, and not to shit on that, but like I just was not connecting with it.
So you're like, you have all this momentum behind you, but it's not like, you're like, whatever.
I felt like I had a little bit, but I was also like, yeah, but I don't want to do that. Yeah. I don't want to do it that way. And I don't want to be going out for this stuff that I'm going out for, which is like talking head, like, uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. I literally said, uh-oh, Spaghetti-O in an MTV.
It's the VH1's I Love Spaghetti-Os.
And I was like, this is so, I wanted to be an artist. Yeah. And now I understand that moving to LA, it's where artists go to become business people. Yeah. And there was something to me that wanted to rebel against that, even though I was here, and be like, well, I'm going to still cling to whatever I can find that feels authentic.
Yeah.
Still, I was like desperately grasping for that, I think. So I went to Guitar Center. I'm like, smash
this
cut
is the
to me.
story of the keyboard.
Smash cut to me at Guitar Center. And I was just like, ding, ding, ding. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I bought a keyboard. I brought it to Tangier. And I remember, and what I was doing with it then was different. Like I was playing like public domain songs and telling stories to them. And just kind of hitting keys. And afterward, I was like, that was my favorite set I've ever.
Yeah.
I've never felt more connected. And like, I felt like I was getting something back that I had lost.
Yeah.
And saying that I cared about it in a way. And so then I started bringing it. And then I remember there being reaction like, are you still doing that keyboard thing? Of skepticism and judgment.
It's so brutal. Like
it's so brutal.
Yeah.
And also like people who thought I was kind of like, you know, like it's like hard to categorize this kind of, but like more of like a mainstream comedian, I guess. And now I wanted to integrate this and like and I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I was like, it just felt like it like deepened the experience for me, so I kept it.
Well, you're probably a lot more present then. I mean, when you have like this toy that you get to be like, let's play with this.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You're not just repeating whatever the act is.
And it, in terms of it like being a crutch, because people have asked me about that too, I would say in a way it is, because when I'm nervous, I can bang.
Yeah, and you do.
And I do. And I use it. Like, I definitely, it's like my, like, Temple Grandin hug machine.
Yeah.
Like, I love it, and it's, like, part of it now. And
it punctuates things. It acts as sort of like a center point. Like, I mean, it's honestly almost like it's a part of you. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not so much a prop as it is, like, I don't know. It's hard to imagine you not having it, which is, I don't know how you feel about that. But in my mind, it just is sort of one and the same. I don't think of it as a crutch. I just think of it as one of the elements of what you do. You know, part of your Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Right. Yeah.
Of set, you know? It's just, it's going to be
totally.
there.
Right. Yeah, that's how it feels. Yeah. It feels like it's part of me.
Yeah. How is it holding up? Because it's been a while.
Okay. Jeff?
Does it have a name?
Cynthia. But I've named all of them Cynthia.
Oh, there's been more than one?
Okay. I have a storage space. Jeff, it's so bad. Because after a while, people. I have 5.
Wow. You've gone through 5 of these babies?
I bang on them. I carry them in the rain. My car right now, I mean, something happened to the molding was coming off the top of my car, and I was with our funny friend Dave Ross.
Yeah.
And he's like, you could just like peel this off. So we peeled off the molding, and now it rains in my car.
Thanks, Dave.
But like, it hit the keyboard, I think, because one day I was like, God, the reason I realized it was raining in my car was because my keyboard bag was wet.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, because it's like dripping through this like area that rubber stuff is supposed to stop. So this one, I think, is on its way out, because the last time I played, I was like, are there marbles rolling around in my keyboard?
No.
Like, things just start to sound a little softer.
Yeah. It's time to retire,
Tambourine
Cynthia.
starts playing out of nowhere. It was like, ging, 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 during a set, which I love when that happens, but it's also like...
I'm doing something, Cynthia.
Right, exactly.
So we're about to get number 6.
Right. Yeah.
Is it the same model every time even?
I try to buy similar models because I need that kind of harrowing organ sound, and not all of them have that. And then I also do a Morongo song still that's been in my repertoire for a very long time that requires a certain beat.
A certain samba, if you will.
But it has to be like... do, 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 do. And then I have to be able to, it has to be like, I have to understand the setting where if I hit a button, it'll play a corresponding chord. Like,
Yeah, you have to relearn the whole.
yes. So when I go to Guitar Center and they're like, what are you using it for? I'm like, it's a long story.
You don't need to know that.
Yeah.
I need three very specific things from this keyword.
Exactly.
So we got another Cynthia coming in.
We have another Cynthia coming in.
Exciting.
I know. It is exciting. I'm just like, what do I do with the others? Maybe I should have a museum of...
I like that you keep them, though. I like that it's like artifacts. Because this is, I feel like, pie in the sky, best case scenario.
Right.
You get super famous and you have, like, you can afford a keyboard tech who, like... combs, you're like, I need the 2003 version, like I'm just not feeling it, like, and they go out and they comb through and they're like, we found one, we had to restore it. It's
oh my god. You know what's so funny, I bought a more expensive one, a slightly more expensive one.
Yeah,
it's gray, it's not black, it's a little heavier, it's kind of hard to carry into shows.
Yeah,
and using it just feels like I'm taking myself too seriously.
That's for your Carnegie
It would
Hall
be like
show.
writing in a golden
Yeah.
journal. It's like, God, what am I going to write in this solid gold?
It's for special occasions.
It's
for
a
the
sp-
big
it's
show.
my tux.
It's for the big
my
shows.
tux.
When you're playing the Met, you're gonna need that one.
Yes.
Well, I think that brings us to now, and I think, I mean, you're an established comedian in the Los Angeles scene. I'm seeing you do. I looked at your calendar for January. You did like 1,000 shows, man. You're really working out there. But I need to take it all away in this portion
Take it
of
away,
the show.
please.
If comedy was no longer a part of your life, if you no longer were able to focus your energies on cracking the code of comedy, what are you going to spend your time doing? You got a lot of headspace to fill.
Right.
If comedy's not there. What would be your exit strategy, Lizzie Cooperman?
Okay. The thing is, I don't know if my exit strategy would be a legitimate exit because I don't know how much if it would support me fully.
Well, let's talk.
okay?
Let's talk it through. Let's figure it
Okay.
out. I'll entertain all possibilities.
My first instinct is to say poetry teacher because very few poets, like comedians,
Yeah.
actually reach a level of success where that it can sustain them. But if you're a teacher at a university or something,
Yeah.
I think you can make it happen. Although the last poetry teacher I had did also work in copywriting.
Well,
So I
I
don't
mean,
know, but it's like-
sometimes you gotta see. You gotta.
Right.
Yeah. There's
But
other
if I was
sources of income.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I was thinking about this actually last night, thinking to myself, I wonder if I had like chosen the life of a poet,
Yeah.
if I'd have kind of like a slightly more like luxurious life. And I don't even mean like materially. I just mean I feel like I would want to live somewhere where there were seasons,
Yeah.
and I would want my home to have like wood paneling and maybe like
Yeah.
more candles. Like I would want things to be to inspire my senses.
Yeah.
Or I would have more things that were kind of sentimental to me, or like I feel like I might have like a really different exterior life.
Yeah. You wouldn't be living in Los Angeles, California.
No, I don't think I would be.
Yeah. I think if you were a poet, if you were like a Los Angeles poet, I think it'd be like a very specific niche.
Yes.
I think you'd be like very reactionary to like the world around you.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Or I would just come here to visit and then
Yeah.
write a poem about how wretched it was.
Oh, and get picked up
Right.
by the New York Times. They'd love it. They'd love it. We got the latest LA bashing poem from Lizzy Cooperman.
But like I think I would live in like Maine and wear like Irish knit sweaters
Yeah.
and
Have a more rustic life.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I would. And yeah, I think about that sometimes had I chosen that path. So that's like one other self that still lives in me. I did a poetry class at UCLA a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I'm putting together a book right now that I'm trying to submit. There are like book prizes.
Yeah. Of poetry?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yeah. And so that's kind of one life. The other life,
Oh.
And something I'm actually good at is sales.
Really?
Yes.
That is, you have really created quite a spectrum here.
A big piano of exit strategies.
On one end, we have poetry. On the other hand, we have commerce. I mean, it's one or the other, you know?
Okay, this is a recent...
This is a recent development?
Well, that I've realized it because the past few years have been bumpy for me, you know? And I've been like, okay, if I needed to... where would I work? Maybe I'd work at CB2 part-time or what other, what would I be okay doing? And it is retail.
Yeah.
But I think that I would be, I hate that I would be self-conscious doing it and running into people. Because I feel like everyone in LA goes through that, and it's just part of it.
I want to dispel that.
I know,
hard,
I do too. Because it's like...
None of us are doing...
None
of us are at
a
point where we can be like, I'm all set. I don't have to...
I know.
I don't have to make any compromises in my life. Like,
right.
We got to do what we got to do to survive.
It's so true. Yeah. Let's dispel it. You know what?
Be in retail.
Right after this, I'm gonna march into World Market... Cost plus World Market.
I'd like an application, please. And I say, we're not hiring.
I'm like, and $4 an hour minimum.
They're like, we actually don't handle the hiring in person anymore. You got to go online.
We don't hire
We don't hire in-house anymore. So what?
I'm like, I don't know how to use a computer.
I don't know. All I know is sales. What made you realize that sales was something you could do?
When I moved here, I worked at a store called Diane von Furstenberg, also known as DVF.
What is DVF?
She invented the wrap dress, which is kind of like a very sophisticated bathrobe. It's a dress that there's like a hole that you stick a tie through.
Yeah.
And kind of like a sash, And she created this. She was this Belgian designer who married a German prince.
As you do.
As you do, exactly. And working in her store, I had worked retail before, and I just really like connecting with people and hearing what they're looking for. I love someone coming in and being like, I have this thing on Saturday. And then I can just imagine them on Saturday.
Yeah.
Get all the details about it and help them create a circumstance in which they're going to enjoy themselves.
Yes.
What dress is that going to be? Are you going to become what are you trying to get out of this experience? Yeah.
See, this is where I feel like it diverts from sales. Because when I think sales, I feel like you're the person at the cash register being like, do you want to open a Target card or whatever? Like you're trying to make a quota. Like you have that commission kind of thing.
Right.
This feels more like consulting. Like almost like, let me help you figure out where to go.
That's really interesting because I do tarot.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like I'm getting from your description. Yeah. Is that it's kind of like tarot in a way for me.
Well, if it's tarot,
Come
but
to my tarot.
in a very this is what we're focusing towards.
Right.
Because I was looking for a suit for my wedding.
Yes.
No big deal.
Yes.
And I went to the store and it took a while for I think the salesperson to warm up to the idea of no, I need your help. It's not just this size, it's over there. I need you to what colors go with this? What I need some opinions from people who know what they're talking about. Right. That's what it seems like to me.
Yes. I love doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not have been able to help you with your suit situation because I'm not familiar with menswear, but I would have loved to had I been able to.
I mean,
I'm so glad it worked out. And they were helpful?
They were helpful. Yeah. I don't think I think they thought I was just going to be like this, let's get out of here, ring me up or whatever. But I was like, no, I don't know colors. You need to tell me if I wear this with this, am I going to look like an idiot?
Right.
Yeah, I need help.
I love that.
Yeah. But I think
love
that's
that.
It's meeting somebody at whatever level as a salesperson you're comfortable with, and then sort of trying to. It's you have to become best friends with them for a hot minute and be like,
Yes.
let me guide you.
I love it so much. I love it beginning to end. And I had like really loyal clients at that store too.
Is there a particular, I mean, where would you feel comfortable doing it? Is it fashion? Is it retail? Is it
I think it was. I'm not as into fashion as I was forced into being at the time. But I think it just takes you a minute to get back into it. Because once you're in it and you become familiar with the product, it would be all about familiarizing myself with the product. And I think I've been looking for a car recently. This has been a whole journey for me. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of test driving.
Yes.
It's really fun. Seriously.
Yeah.
I love it. I had this idea that I wanted to sit higher up and that might kind of like change things for me energetically.
Yeah.
Because I've been sitting in this small car.
Yeah. So you would
for
approach
10
life
years.
with a different point of view.
Like maybe if I could sit in a Jeep or something that's kind of like higher.
Yeah.
That it would cause a shift.
Yeah. Where are you on that? Are we getting a Jeep?
I might be getting a Jeep.
Folks, you heard it here first. Lizzie's getting a Jeep.
I think I'm getting something called a Jeep Renegade.
That's what you are, man. You're a Jeep Renegade.
I know. I need to see. The thing is, it's not practical. It's like I don't drive off road. Like I'm not
yet.
Like an adventure.
Yet.
I don't have kids. No one to put in the back seat. You know, the mileage isn't terrific.
Well, couldn't you just get like a small car and then like sit on a phone book?
That is so not what I'm going to do. For a second, I'm like, maybe.
I'm not a salesman. I don't know. I'm just throwing out.
There is a small car that sits higher up.
Yeah.
It's called an i3, and it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
It's like comparable to the Prius C, kind of. But then getting into the land of like buy versus lease, and
yes.
Am I ready to do this? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I could, if I didn't have the keyboard, I could be like, yeah, I'm not driving.
Yeah.
Because I love walking and stuff. But
oh, yeah, the keyboard is kind of a...
And I almost got a Fiat, and then I was like, oh, one more thing I need to test out. Could you pop that trunk, sir?
Oh.
I tried to put Cynthia in, and she couldn't just fit like this. I can't do it because I don't want to get in an accident and become impaled by my
have
keyboard
a keyboard
stand.
go right through your head. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's
my
fair.
Stand.
The poor guy at the Fiat place was like, I just made a sale. He's like, what the? Who is this person? Why is the keyboard such a deal breaker?
I know.
For her? She must be a piano teacher. So, what would be? Would cars be something that you would want to be a salesperson for?
So I was thinking that I was on the lot, and there was a guy. The man who at the Jeep dealership, he was lovely, but he was really dispassionate. He was like, "Yeah, it's okay." I was like, "You don't love the Renegade?"
I don't want that. Yeah.
And he was like, "I mean, it's a good car." And he was like texting, and I was like, "Yeah, I could." Then I was like, "Get me into that showroom." I was like, if I were better at math, I think. That's where I think I would get tripped up, is I'd be like, I'm sorry, I said 0 down or whatever.
When they start being like, what does it cost? Then it's,
yes.
Yeah.
That's
when you pass it on to the business department. You know, you go like,
you're right.
My manager says I can't pay, I can't do that
That's
price.
a great idea.
Yeah. I think you're going to be a car salesman.
I honestly, Kim Newmoney sent me this great episode of This American Life. It's called At the Car Lot.
Yeah.
I listened to it twice. It's all about, at the end of the month, they're like, okay, guys, we were supposed to sell 129 cars.
Yeah.
We're at 127. If they sell 129, they get like $100,000.
So everybody
they get a huge bonus.
Going for those 2 cars.
Yes, and they're like, guys, come on, and it's like the way the story is woven. I mean, it unfolds beautifully, and it made me feel like I would love to get in there. Yeah. 2
things about the car dealership. One, I don't know that I could work there personally because every car dealership feels like it's just one big break room. Do you know that feeling? It's just like, this is gross. You guys need to step it up a little bit.
That's so true.
2, what is your opinion on that feeling though of I'm maybe not selling something for customer satisfaction? Maybe there's an element of I need to be selfish and give someone something they may not want,
right,
for my bonus.
Right.
Do you have some hesitation about that.
I would try my best to be authentic.
Yeah.
I really would. Like when I was selling dresses, we did get commission.
Yeah.
And I would not sell someone something if they didn't.
If you didn't feel
if
it.
they didn't.
Yeah.
If they were like, oh, I just don't. I'd be like, then think about it.
No pressure. No pressure.
No, I would not. I would feel bad selling someone something.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't want. But if they were like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it, and I could see still uncertainty, I'd be like, okay, that's your decision. Sign here, please. Now it's up to you.
Ty goes
I'm not your mommy
now. Like,
mommy's gone.
if you want to sign it, let's do it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do. But the other thing that makes me nervous would be test driving and sitting in the passenger seat with like some like kid or like.
That does sound kind of
like some 90-year-olds who's like, I want the Jeep Renegade.
Well, just think about this though. You get into Lyfts, you get into Ubers. Who the hell knows how good of a driver that person is? So you might as well just go for it. One last question about this: what elements of your stand-up and performing? I think this is going to be helpful in here. Do you feel like the career of performing has given you these tools that you can use for this?
For my new career, as
a car salesperson.
Jeep Chrysler.
Yeah. Oh, at Jeep Chrysler. Yeah. Because you know showmanship, you know connection. Like it's almost like you probably could do it even better than you think you can do it.
Look, we're all pianos. Just depends which chords you want to play. I mean,
Lizzie, I think we found an exit strategy for you. We're going down to the car dealership right now. We're going to get you a job selling cars.
I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be so good. We're going to take a little break. We're going to come back. You're going to choose the sponsor for this week's episode. Perhaps it's a Jeep Chrysler dealership of your choice, but it'll give you an opportunity to, throw out a spokesperson reel maybe in just a couple short minutes.
I love it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite segments.
Okay.
Because it is all about selling out. We're going to be right back with more Lizzy Cooperman right after this. Oh, boy. We're back.
We're
Lizzy,
here.
welcome back to this examination of your alternate life. I think we found quite a exit strategy for you. I'm kind of excited. I think, because you still have to go buy a car.
I still have to get a car. I know I'm torn between like CarMax. Do you know what CarMax is? Where you take your old car.
Oh, yeah. That's like the we don't haggle.
Right. No
situation.
haggle.
Yeah.
Or do I go in and I haggle? Yeah.
The one fun thing about being, and this is more a statement on me, I don't know your financial state, but whenever I'm haggling and I legit, like I can, and I'm not lying when I say it, I can be like, no, dude, I literally cannot afford that. Like, you always have that fail safe of like, I can very easily walk away from this because that is too much, my friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to approach car buying differently now that you've thought of yourself as a potential car salesperson?
I think I might. Yeah. I actually felt like when I was test driving, I was like, I'm the one at the wheel here.
I've got the power, my friend.
When it's pianos, I use piano metaphors. When I'm a car salesman, it's all going to be about who's at the wheel. Jeff, some people have a big wheel. Some people can't turn left. Some people lost.
It's going to be a car. It's going to be a lot filled with like dudes in khakis with like that like bright blue polo selling cars, and then you're going to be there. You're going to be like a whole nother energy coming at people.
I love it.
I think it's like, especially in Los Angeles, I think there's probably a lot of people that don't like that because it's a masculine energy.
Yeah,
let's be
it
honest.
is.
You need something different. I think that just on that alone, you're going to have a clientele.
I'm like excited about this.
Oh man, we are. This might be the first exit strategy that really plays out. We're gonna find out. But before we do that, we got to have just a little bit more show. This is my favorite segment. This is where we get to choose the sponsor for every week. I don't have real sponsors, but you can't have a podcast without sponsors.
Right.
So I'm gonna let the guests choose. Lizzy, this is your week. Who is the sponsor for this episode of Exit Strategy?
Okay, this might be a curveball, but
I think everything in this episode has been a curveball.
The reason I'm picking them is I had an experience that I believe might be leading me down the path to Jeep Chrysler. Path. Down the Trailhawk model. Down the off-road crossover SUV.
We're going to have to work on it.
But this really gets my engine going. Okay.
This is all your sales pitch is just talking
Okay.
Like
this morning, I put on this pair of earrings. You can't see them. They're black tourmaline. It's a crystal or a rock that is supposed to be a protective rock. Kind of absorbs negativity, and so it's kind of like deflects it.
Yeah.
I didn't wear that because of you. I just like in general was like,
thank you.
They make me feel grounded.
Yeah.
But I got this pair because my other one broke in half. They're from a place, our sponsor, Liberate Emporium on Hillhurst.
Liberate Emporium.
Next to Green Leaves Restaurant, that vegan restaurant. Across from, kind of by Spitz.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I never return things. My old pair of these split in half, like a perfect split. And I called and I just said, hey, is this, I just kind of wanted to like feel out, like, has this happened with this kind of earring? And she goes, actually, some people believe that when black tourmaline breaks, it means that the rock has served its purpose.
Ooh, it's
and that
retiring.
you're breaking through to the next level.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and you can bring them in and we'll give you a new pair. So now I'm wearing my next level earrings.
Yeah.
I wore them today on the podcast. We're having this conversation about Jeep Chrysler. And I feel like it's all tying back to the purchase. The earrings.
Yeah.
And Liberate Emporium.
Liberate Emporium on Hillhurst. It's right next to the vegan restaurant. Or you can go to Spitz if you're into the meat thing. Right. Both are great options, meal-wise. I've been in that shop before.
Yeah.
It's, you got to pick up some crystals. You got to pick up some sage. You got to pick up whatever you need to center yourself.
A candle that says power on it.
Boom. I think they even teach classes. I don't know. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. They do readings and stuff. Yeah.
Well,
so
I hope they're listening.
Sponsor. I do too. I feel like it's going to get back to them.
Wait, I gotta switch everything up. Would you consider leaving your life as a car dealer to work at the Emporium?
Okay. I have worked as a tarot reader before and palm reader. I don't know if they would hire me. I'm just kidding. Wait, actually, do you know what? I have applied there.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Now that you brought it up, I have like a rejection letter from them in my email.
Do you want to take away the sponsorship?
That's so funny. I'm like, would I work there? And I'm like, I've applied there. Wait, that's so funny. I have a rejection letter from them, and I did. Okay, wow.
Well, I mean, that just goes to show you how much you support the business is. If they have told you no, you're still like, you know what? I'm not going to hold it against them.
Wait. I kind of can't wrap my head around it. Yes.
Okay, so you still would, not going to hold it against them.
The thing is, I feel like I would make more money as a car dealer. So if I weren't doing the thing I really wanted to do, I would work as an independent tarot reader. I don't know if I could sit in a back room with all the scents that are happening in there because it's a very heavily infused with. I'm kind of sensitive to certain incenses and aromas, but. Yeah, I would if doing tarot cards paid well and I was able to support myself doing it. Yes, that would be an option 3 for sure.
Okay, so we got a lot of exit strategies.
Wow.
But one sponsor, and that's the Liberated Emporium on Hillhurst. Check it out. As far as Lizzie Cooperman, I mean, people are probably listening to this. They're like, I want to see what is going on with her. Where are you directing them? What is like the way to get the Lizzie Cooperman experience?
I've got a website, handcrafted website.
Handcrafted.
I update it myself.
That's the earthy touch you get.
Right,
from Lizzie.
that's the earthy touch you get. It's Lizzie with a Y, Lizzy Cooperman, Cooperman. I'm coming up. I'm at the Skiptown Playhouse. I don't even know what that is.
Where is
Hopefully
that?
Not Thousand Oaks.
Is that local?
I'm doing a show called Kids in the Yard. Details to come. Don't know where that one is either. I'm at a wine bar. I mean, I'm at the Virgil.
This is why you got to go to the website so you can
visit the website.
There'll be details pending.
Oh, and my album Organism is available on iTunes, Amazon, everyone's favorite Google Play.
Go to Google Play. Get your Google Play account on.
And they're playing it on the 26th. They're going to play it twice on Raw Dog Radio.
Oh, on Sirius XM Radio.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So turn off a Stern and get to the Raw Dog. It's probably just a few channels over. Lizzie, thank you so much for coming here. I've had a blast going back down memory lane with you and talking shop. I hope to buy my next car from you.
I hope so too. Stop a Jeep Wrangler today. That's not even the name.
It's wow. All right. This has been Exit Strategy. Mention Exit Strategy at your nearest Jeep dealer for a big, big cushy discount. Lizzie, I hope to see you soon. But
I hope
for now, we got to go.
Okay.
Bye.